buy it for, I think it's 1,000 or 10,000 COD points, which is incredibly inexpensive. It has no attachment, so that's pretty much automatically good to go. If you want to purchase the Battle Pass, if you want to just buy the weapons or spend money on stuff like that, you can use code DRIFTOR in the store to support me. Because of the way the code is set up, it has to be all caps, and the O is a 0 like on the number pad. Thus, it's not sponsored by Activision. So if you're spending Battle Pass,
eliminate all targets in the AO.
Not to worry that you're super grinder all the more to you, because that's usually me. I prefer grinding.
Enemy soldier incoming.
The number one thing I want to point out in the beginning is that the ground loot pools have changed radically. There's just a totally different set of weapons on the ground. A lot of Groza, a lot of Milano, a lot of light machine guns, and the ground loot is really strong now. When we get into the weapon balancing patch part of this video, you'll know why, but most of the ground loot weapons are very good. They added the dirt bikes in all modes, and the self-revive spawn rates have been significantly reduced. After playing for 2 hours, I only found one of them last night, and that seems fair. The dirt bikes are insanely fast, but also very difficult to control. They don't kill you when you fall off of them PUBG style, but they're not the easy vehicle that everybody dreamed that they would be. The Cold War 1911 pistol, which is your starting pistol, got a really unique nerf to reduce its melee damage, so it now takes 3 hits to down somebody instead of just 2, and this is a really good change because what would happen before is you would land, somebody would land next to you would hit the gun, and they would just 2-tap you super fast.
Objectives updated. Move to the next location.
And the same thing if you had a loadout, people could sneak up and just 2-tap you super fast with a pistol. Now it takes 3, which balances out the pistol fights, and the meta now is to shoot them once or twice and then go for the 2-taps. So we got a lot more variety going on there.
Lone Wolf calling Wolf Den, over.
UAV entering the AO.
To your teammates as well. Previously, it was just you and you had to make callouts, but now when you snapshot somebody, the entire team can see them, and the time for which they're highlighted went from 1.25 seconds to 2 seconds, so that's a very significant buff. And I think the snapshot grenades really might be worth using now in squads and trios. You can see
next objective location.
Cold War weapons, thank goodness, because every time
Be advised, UAV is bingo fuel. RTB for resupply.
Reconfigure it and put it back together the next time I needed it. But now you can save mods of Cold War weapons just like you can for Modern Warfare 19, so you can save them and use them when you need them. The specialist token has been removed from the game. They said it was a little bit too powerful, a little bit too easy to get, and I kind of agree with them. They said it might come back in the future, but for now it's gone. That's all for the simple stuff. We are going to jump into the balancing patch notes. First thing we're going to do is talk about the barrels. Pretty much all of the barrels in the game have been reworked, and then we're going to talk about the 12 or 15 guns that got rebalanced, some of them quite radically, like the Scar is a good gun now. So let's start off with the Cold War Snipers. Cold War Snipers Combat Recon barrel got buffed across every single sniper in that class, some of them as little as 2%, some of them up. The easy way to think about it is if you were using the Combat Recon barrel, it roughly boosted your bullet velocity by 5%.
Contract complete. All supply boxes located.
Assault rifles got reworked. It now grants
enemy launched an advanced UAV. We're exposed.
Vertical recoil
Gas is
control,
moving.
and I'm using a lot of space to write that out there because vertical recoil control means less recoil, so 15% less recoil. However, your hipfire spread is 20% wider, so if you run one of these barrels, you get more velocity, more recoil control, but worse hipfire spread, so it's harder to use in close quarters combat. The takedown barrels for Cold War assault rifles got a 35% maximum damage range boost, a 15% reduction in horizontal recoil, which is probably more important than almost anything else in the game as far as recoil is concerned, and the same hipfire penalty. As you'll note on a lot of these, they're almost all going to have hipfire penalties, and the biggest barrels was the reinforced heavy and the Spetsnaz. So these got a near complete and total radical rework. When you look at them in the game, it's like plus 4 or 5 things and then minus 4 or 5 things. And I'm just going to explain the basics of this. So the reinforced heavy barrels now improves both vertical and horizontal recoil. You gain more recoil control in both aspects of that. It will improve both range and velocity, though not as much as the individual attachments back there, like the Ranger and stuff like that. But still improvements to basically everything. However, you're going to get hit penalties to both your hip fire, which is sometimes a massive penalty, your aim down sights, your strafe speed, and your shooting moving speed. So when you equip one of these, they are truly a heavy barrel. Yes, low recoil, yes, great range. Boo to ADS, boo to hipfire, boo to strafing, and it's effectively a buff to the weapon for its actual assault rifle attributes and a nerf for its SMG attributes. Because what players were doing for a very long time is they were using Cold War assault rifles as submachine guns because none of the weapons had the bullet velocity or recoil control to be useful at long ranges. With these new sensor attachments, you can actually use them at long ranges quite well, but they're pretty brutal to use up close. It's a little bit of the way of a lazy way out, but these Spetsnaz and Task Force barrels, the final barrels in the game, modify the same stats as the reinforced heavy, so they both get extra range and velocity, lower recoil, and penalties to pretty much all of your mobility and handling, but the bonuses are slightly scaled up. So with the Spetsnaz and Task Force barrel, you'll get even more bullet velocity and range, even more recoil reduction, but it handles even slower and has even worse hip fire and even slower strafe speed. So what they've kind of done is made it for almost any barrel attachment that you put on these weapons, except for maybe the first one or two that change the strafe speed, is going to make them slower and worse of a close quarters weapon, better at long ranges, and as you move down the list, effectively gets better and better at long range and worse at close range, so you have to pick the point which you're comfortable with. And yes, I will be doing a whole
enemy UAV overhead
this week, probably. But yeah, basically the barrels are going to radically reduce your recoil, but they're going to have massive penalties elsewhere. And any barrel that will reduce your recoil is also going to increase your hipfire spread so that you can't use these like SMGs. I'm kind of repeating myself at this point, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next section. An individual weapon barrels, which the CR-56 index now interests multiplier barrel. Shots only, which is absurdly fast.
Bounty target is up. Let's get it done.
Kind of fast. That's like Finnick kind of fast. That's faster than the Modern Warfare 1955. I guess that's a very good comparison. And it's very similar to the Cold War AK-47. So if you were using the Cold War AK in close quarters combat, the Groza will now do basically the same thing, but with bigger mag, potentially better handling, and much better iron sight. So the Groza is kind of a close range monster now.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone.
Star H got massive buffs to its neck and upper torso hipfire, and then basically a time to kill buff, so that as long as you're hitting upper chest, neck, or head, the time to kill on this weapon is going to be much faster. When you back it out, the new star time to kill, if you're hitting
County target down. Well done.
is 555 milliseconds. This is the same time to kill as the Modern Warfare 5, which I think many of you are familiar with, and is very fast and considered up amongst the faster killing assault
An enemy
rifles
team
in
is
the
hunting
game.
you.
The
Stay
Star
alert.
can now shred people as long as you're hitting upper body torso, and they talk about it wanting to make it too strong, not make it
Bounty target is up. Let's get it done.
It can be an extremely effective assault rifle in terms of time to kill. The XM4 got its next multiplier increase. The M63 pistol, which was the previous new weapon, got massive buffs to its base damage.
I'm alive, it's still alive.
Again, instead of putting a whole bunch of confusing numbers all over the screen and going over each individual one of them, we're going to skip ahead to the time to kill section. So with the new AMP-63, if you're shooting somebody in the chest only, upper chest, boobs and up, it'll kill in 552 milliseconds, which is extremely similar to the both-prong time to kill. its damage range reduced by 24%, and it got a little bit of movement speed nerfed as well. So that kind of got nerfed into the ground. I think the Street Sweeper will still be fine in truly like in-your-face close quarters combat, but it won't quite be the hallway cleaner that it was before. Cold War 50 caliber sniper rifle, the name of which is completely eclipsing me now at 3 in the morning when I'm trying to edit all this. Got some body multiplier increases and 7% more bullet velocity, which is nice, so it's going to deal more damage even if you're not. So let's talk about some really interesting ones with the submachine guns. The Modern Warfare 19 SMG now has a 1.1x multiplier for upper chest shots, which puts it at a similar time to kill as the AUG SMG if you were running the 5.56 ammunition, but now without the recoil and reload and movement speed penalties and the penalty of just having to use an attachment to give that time to kill.
Bounty
So
target is down. Well done.
Conversion is now effectively just as good as the AUG with the ammo conversion. Though to be fair, I am yet to test the ammo conversion. If they apply this multiplier to the ammo conversion, the AUG's just going to be absolutely absurd, and that's some testing for tomorrow. Add some numbers to this, that AUG SMG chest time to kill. You can see how tired and struggly I am here. It's 480 milliseconds, which is super fast. You know, that's kind of closer to Finnick time. That's kind of getting closer to AS Val time. If you're hitting chest and up, it'll absolutely shred people. Recoil on that one can be a little bit awkward, so you probably won't be able to do that. KSP got a 17% range buff, and the extremity multiplier got moved up from 0.9 to 1.0, so it'll be more consistent. I have seen some people using it. My chat was going crazy last night. Everybody's saying it's the new best gun. I'm still skeptical because it's multiple. If you're hitting chest and up, it'll absolutely shred people. Recoil on that one can be a little bit awkward, so you probably won't be able to do that. KSP got a 17% range buff, and the extremity multiplier got moved up from 0.9 to 1.0, so it'll be more consistent. I have seen some people using it. My chat was going crazy last night. Everybody's saying it's the new best gun. I'm still skeptical because it's an awkward burst weapon, but I will be testing it out later. And perhaps the biggest change, this is my most meta prediction here. The Milano is going to be meta. It now has a time to kill if you're shooting chest and up at 520 milliseconds. This is slightly faster than the Modern Warfare 19 MP5, which I've used over and over again in this episode because I believe that's a very good standard of your time to kill. But what's very important about this is that the Milano can have a 55-round mag, it can have these really fast Cold War attachments, and it's absurdly low recoil. The Milano can absolutely laser people. It is not hard at all to get all upper chest.
Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone.
And I did it a lot in actual Battle Royale, and of all of the weapons that my squad tested out, everybody agreed the Milano is probably the best new one. Is it going to be your go-to SMG for point-blank close quarters combat where you're hip firing, spraying, and praying? No, the MP5 and some other guns are going to do that better because you don't have to worry about where your shots hit. But for a consistent like backup weapon where you need to break it out and beam people, it works fantastically. There's a nearly unnoticeable 1 damage point buff on the MW19 Bison that I don't entirely understand at the moment, so we'll revisit that later in the future. And the DMR-14 got a healthy recoil reduction. It's a little bit more usable now. The damage and range and all of that is the same. I used it a little bit in game, and I found it to be entirely appropriate. So those are all of the gun changes. Now what's interesting about this is
enemy UAV overhead,
Rosa, and both of the new weapons are in the ground loot, along with the nail gun, which is downright filthy. I didn't even talk about the nail gun. They added the nail gun into the game. It has the range of 0 and garbage, but it subjectively, I am not going to test it, it seems to shred people very effectively up close. I had a lot of fun playing with it tonight. And the skins for it are fun.
Lone Wolf calling Wolf Den, over.
Gas is inbound.
This is Striker 3-1, good copy. Strike inbound. No hits on that run.
Episode of In Depth. The patch notes were massive. This is a fast and dirty version of them. It's going to take a couple of days for everything to settle and for everybody to get back on top of the...
Oh, det kunde man väl ge sig fan på.
This is the Gulag. Survive and you can redeploy. Sit tight, mate. You'll be out there soon enough. win this fight and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done here. You're up, soldier. Go sort this fucker out. Enemy UAV overhead. Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone. Losing ground. Gas is moving in. New safe zone located. Loadout drop headed your way. overhead. Gas is inbound.
We go on from here.
5 remaining. Gas is moving in. New safe zone located. Got gas moving in. Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone. Gas is moving. Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone. You're losing ground. Made it through and took the win. Well done.